So the book that I chose to read was Spillover by David Quamman. 147 pages is 25%. I wrote down this blurb, so I'm just going to read this off really fast because last time I did it, it was too long and my computer wouldn't get all of it. So the book jumps right into the plot. The book gives a good vocabulary lesson in the beginning and then starts the storytelling. They basically go over zoonosis and stuff like that. The book focuses in on Brisbane, Australia, and the town or city of Hendra was, there's a racehorse stable and pasture, well there was years ago. The trainer Vic Rail wasn't well liked, but all who knew him would agree he knew horses. September 1994 is when this took place. The first victim was a bay mare who was pregnant and resting in the pasture. Her name was Drama Series. There was nothing drastically wrong with her, so it seemed, but Rail wanted her brought in. She just didn't look well, is what he thought. He noticed that around her lips, jaw, and eyelids she had swelling. So when he brought her to the stables, she started sweating really bad and she was really sluggish. September 7th, 1994, Rail called his vet to take a look. The vet's name was Peter Reed, and he said that she was depressed, not psychologically but physically. And he gave her some antibiotics, and the next day he got a call at, I think it said 4 in the morning, that Drama Series had gotten out, collapsed in the yard, and was dying. By the time he got there, the mare was dead. In the book, it explains that her death was really gruesome. She got up and gouged her legs to the bones, it says, and that she collapses and gets back up and collapses again, and then they try and pin her down. She falls into a bunch of bricks, and they try and keep the horse down, and then she just dies. So, they couldn't save the baby, they couldn't save the mare, so it was just unfortunate, and they sent the horse away to be disposed of. And then the other horses started getting sick, and they were worried that before the other ones got sick, was if it was a snake or if it was a poisonous weed or someone maliciously poisoned the horses. But because the other horses started getting sick, they knew that it was contagious. The other horses suffered fever, respiratory distress, bloodshot eyes, spasms, and clumsiness. 7 horses died in 12 hours on one day. There was a 5-year-old horse that they wanted to keep alive. They wanted to try and save it, so they sent it away to the north to just be up there in a different stable. And on arrival, the horse was sick and had to be euthanized. They found out that the sickness was more than just an animal sickness because Rail and his one of his stable hands ended up getting sick. Rail went to the hospital and after a week of intensive care, died. The stable boy went home to wait out the fever, and he survived. When they were looking at the horses, because more and more were getting sick, they sent in basically like animal CDC to check out the horses there, and so they were cutting up the ones that were sick and trying to find out what was wrong with them. Someone described that there was like the green bins that we have for our trash outside was filled with horse parts that were to be burned or disposed of because they chopped them all up to take like whatever looked suspicious, and they put it in little baggies and take it back to the lab and check it out. And so they said the field was covered in horse blood, and it was really bad, and it was like real gruesome and stuff. So later on in the book, they ended up looking at the horse's virus, which they classified as a horse measles, and then they found out that in Rail's liver, he had the same disease, and so they realized then that they needed to rename the virus from just horse measles to the Hendra virus, where it was found. And then later on, they were discussing that it was a tree that the horse was under, and they said that the tree harbored bats, and that they were thinking that the bats were the cause of the virus in the first place. And so then they go into this whole thing where they're looking for antibodies, and the antibodies they find some places and they don't find other places. And then they said that they found antibodies in certain bats, and then they started tweaking at it, but I'm about to run out of time. And so far this book is great, and I'm really happy that I picked something with zoonosis because it's just interesting. A lot of the stuff that we're trying to figure out now with the AIDS is relevant to this. So, so far so good. 25% read. Can't wait for the next one of these things. It's exciting. Okay, thank you.